That was the first time we really talked seriously about the wedding. Not about the dress, not about the guests, not about the wedding rings, but about where we wanted to start the rest of our lives. Why not Nashville, he asked me. It was a very gentle question. No pressure, no coercion. Just a question I knew would come someday. I didn't answer right away. I looked out the window for a long time. London felt strange to me then. This city didn't suffocate me like New York. It didn't make me feel as wary as Los Angeles. London gave me the feeling that I could breathe slowly. I could walk down the street without constantly hearing cameras following me. And more importantly, London was the first place where I felt loved as a normal woman. Not the Taylor Swift of the stage, not the Taylor of the tours, not the Taylor of the charts, just Taylor. I turned to look at Travis and said to him, "I think I want to marry you here." He immediately burst out laughing as if I'd just said the craziest thing in the world. "London?" I nodded, "Yeah." He sat up, propped his elbows on his knees, and looked at me for a long time. I knew Travis always tried to read my mind whenever I was unusually serious. He understood I could joke a lot, but when I was silent for a long time before an answer, it meant my heart was truly speaking. "Why?" he asked. And I think maybe that was the first moment I'd ever said aloud everything I'd kept inside for years. "Because I feel peaceful here." I said it very softly, but he heard it. London wasn't where I was born, nor was it where I grew up. But sometimes, a city embraces your heart in ways you can't explain. I've traveled to many places around the world. I've stood before tens of thousands of fans every night. I've heard cheers so loud I couldn't hear my own thoughts. But because of that, I understand how terrifying the loneliness of fame can be. There were years when I lived as if I were running away from my own life. People think fame is light, but no one tells you that too much light can blind you. I used to wake up every morning wondering how many articles would be written about me, how many stories would be distorted, how many people thought they knew me just from reading a few headlines online. Then I met Travis. He was different from everything I knew, not because he was famous, not because he was a successful football player, but because he's so genuine it makes me feel like I can be genuine too. Travis doesn't love Taylor Swift. He loves the girl who likes to sit and eat fries at midnight. He loves the girl who often forgets to charge her phone. He loves the girl who can cry while watching an old movie. He loves the girl who always worries too much about everything. He loves all the very ordinary parts of me, and London is where those ordinary things appear most often. I remember once we were walking in Notting Hill early in the morning. I was wearing a loose sweater, a baseball cap, and almost no makeup. We stopped at a small cafe on the corner. No one paid attention to us for almost 40 minutes. Sounds silly, right? But to me, it was a gift. I had forgotten what it felt like to sit quietly in a public place without immediately hearing whispers or cameras snapping pictures. I remember looking at Travis and smiling. "This is the normal thing I've always wanted." He just held my hand and said, "Then we'll have even more normal things." I think that's when London started to become a part of our love story. Not noisy, not flashy, just very real. When engagement rumors spread everywhere, our lives almost exploded. Everywhere we went, people followed us. One day I saw more than 20 cameras outside the hotel. People always think celebrity romantic moments have to be grand, but what I really craved was peace and quiet. I wanted to walk into my wedding without feeling like I was walking onto a stage. I'd been on too many stages already. I didn't want my wedding to be another performance, and that's why London became special. There, we could turn the wedding into a memory instead of a media event. I remember the day I told this to my mother. She was silent for a long time. My mother always understood me in a way that didn't require much explanation. Perhaps it was because she'd seen every version of me, from the little girl writing music in her bedroom to the woman standing in the midst of the world's biggest tours. "I think you're choosing where you'll be happiest," she said. I burst into tears immediately afterward, not because I was overwhelmed with emotion, but because I finally realized I wasn't choosing what the public wanted anymore. Meant I was starting to choose what my heart needed. It was a very strange feeling and very liberating. Travis was the one who made me feel safe enough to do that. One night, we walked along Westminster Bridge very late. The city was almost asleep. The wind was so cold I had to pull my coat tighter around myself. Travis put his arms around me from behind and asked, "Yo, are you scared?" "Yo, scared of what?" "Yeah, scared of all this." I understood he was talking about the wedding, about the attention, regarding the world watching us. I honestly replied, yes. I've always been afraid, not afraid of marriage. I never doubted my love for Travis. Lamidja, I was just afraid the world would turn something beautiful into a sensationalist spectacle. Belinda, I've seen too much of my private life turned into entertainment headlines. Claimed. My love was analyzed as if it were a game. My pain became a meme on social media. Bleen. At times, I felt like my heart was a glass room for people to look into from the outside. But London felt different. The city seemed to be saying to me, "Oh, you can keep this to yourself," and I wanted to believe that there's another reason I've never told anyone. London is where I learned to love the slow pace. In America, everything is always so fast. Tours, meetings, contracts, planes, events, pressure. You barely have time to listen to yourself. But in London, I started to like the long mornings. I liked reading by the window. I liked walking with Travis without any specific plan. I liked the feeling that life didn't have to be a race. I wanted my wedding to have that feeling. Not too flashy, not too extravagant, and just the people we love, most gathered in a city that had witnessed how peacefully we fell in love. I remember the day we went to see the wedding venue. It was drizzling, very London, tiny raindrops clung to the ancient trees, and the air was just cool enough for me to huddle close to Travis as we walked. And he looked around and asked, "Are you sure?" I nodded almost immediately. Splandrous, because for the first time in my life, I didn't picture the wedding as a fairy tale event. And I pictured it as a home, warm, safe, and real. Ben. Many people might not understand why an American girl would choose London for the most important day of her life. But love isn't always logical. Sometimes the heart simply recognizes a place where it belongs. Johnny, for me, London is where our love breathes. I don't know what the future holds. Mimed. I don't know if married life will always be easy. I don't know how many other pressures we'll face. But I know one thing. When I walked down the aisle in London that day and saw Travis waiting for me at the end of the aisle, King, I no longer heard the noise of the world. I only saw him. Belen, the man who made me believe that love doesn't need to be perfect to be eternal. And perhaps that's the real reason we got married in London, because in a world that's always so noisy, Langers. After the wedding, what surprised me most wasn't the articles, the photos that appeared online, or the fact that people called it Wedding of the Year. What I'll remember forever was the final silence. I remember vividly the moment the large doors of the reception closed behind us. At the end of the night, the last guests had left. The band had stopped playing. The candlelight in the hall flickered. I took off my high heels and sat down on the stone steps outside the building while London was drizzling. My wedding dress was slightly dirty at the hem from dragging on the wet grass, but I didn't care. For the first time in many years, I didn't care whether I was still perfect in everyone's eyes or not. Lenge Travis came out a few minutes after me, carrying 2 cups of hot tea he'd found in the small kitchen inside. He sat down beside me as if we were just an ordinary couple who had just finished a long evening. Tembint, no bodyguards, no cameras, no calling my name. Inko, only the gentle sound of rain and the scent of damp grass in the air. Masses, Kelce, band. He called me that for the first time. I turned to look at him and immediately burst out laughing. P&D. That sounds strange, but I like it. I didn't answer because he was right. I liked it. Belly and not. Because the title made everything more fairy tale-like. Blaine's, but because for the first time in my life, I felt like I didn't have to run anymore. Mendia. I think many people don't understand how exhausting it is to live in the public eye for so long. Bent, you start learning to defend yourself against everything. Every time you step out into the open.
Nobody expected this rumor to explode the way it did. Reports connected to ESPN are claiming Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce chose London for their wedding for one emotional reason nobody saw coming. And honestly, fans can't stop talking about it. According to the buzz online, London became the one place where both of them could finally escape the pressure of fame. No non-stop cameras, no NFL headlines, no Hollywood chaos, just peace. Sources close to the story claim Taylor felt truly happy and relaxed in London while spending time with Travis during her tour. Fans even noticed the difference. She looked calmer, more confident, and genuinely in love. And apparently, Travis pushed for London too because he wanted the wedding to feel real and personal instead of becoming another giant celebrity event controlled by the media. What makes this story hit so hard is how believable it feels. These are two of the most famous people in the world, yet people believe they were searching for something simple: privacy, freedom, and real moments together. Late-night walks, quiet dinners, and time away from the spotlight reportedly made London special for them. Now social media is completely divided. Some think the rumor is true, while others believe it's just internet hype. But one thing is certain: the world is obsessed with Taylor and Travis right now. Every appearance, every photo, and every rumor instantly goes viral. And if they really do get married in London, fans believe it won't just be another celebrity wedding. It'll be a love story people remember for years.